Yes, it's everyone's favorite dinosaur-themed and weaponized ute, the Ford Ranger Raptor. You can't get enough of this thing, which is why we've already shown you plenty of it doing this. And this. And this. We already know it's great at that stuff, and that's why you're buying it. But what if it's your daily commuter, and unlike me, you have a real job? Can you really wrangle the Raptor around city streets? Before we find out, remember you can check out the full written review over at carsguide.com.au. And remember to hit those like and subscribe buttons to stay up to date with all our latest reviews.
First off, we have to ram home just how much presence the Raptor has. I've had more people gazing at this thing in traffic than I have in some properly special cars, like the Lexus LC500. The pumped guards, fat 33-inch BF Goodrich all-terrain rubber, 17-inch wheels in Ford Performance's signature matte black, big Ford grille and Raptor stickers give it a kind of visual presence above even that of the Wildtrak. The cost? Well, it's far more expensive than most dual cabs, but Ford tells us they're flying off lots so fast they can't really build enough of them. So, clearly it's not too expensive for its target audience. Size-wise, the Raptor is a whopping 161mm wider than the regular Ranger, and even wider than a full-size Range Rover. It all adds up to a pretty special package, a fitting poster truck for Australia's new ute-obsessed era. But with all eyes on you, you're probably not going to want to look a bit stupid doing everyday tasks on account of the Raptor's uncompromising off-road spec.
We're going to simulate a few things, like an airport run. We're going to assume that there's also 4 people in the cab, which means there's no room for this baggage. I guess you're just going to have to assume that it doesn't rain.
Unlike its Wildtrak little brother, the Raptor doesn't come with a tonneau cover, so we've brought a net, remembering that just tossing things in the tray is an unsecured load and technically illegal, which is the Raptor's first minor inconvenience.
Gone are the days where you'd be seriously losing out on comfort and multimedia by picking a dual cab over an SUV. Here you've got Ford's Sync 3 multimedia system. It's fast, it's easy to navigate, and it has all the phone connectivity and sat-nav you'd really expect.
The Raptor does away with the somewhat awkward dual-screen dashboard in the regular Ranger and replaces it with a Ford Performance classic-style dual-dial layout. It also adds these leather-trimmed bucket seats with power adjust for front occupants and matching trim for the rear seats. The Ranger's cabin is a nice place to be too, with sufficient legroom and headroom for all, something that not every dual cab can claim. It's also one of the few dual cabs with a full-size power outlet for rear passengers.
Now we know a lot of you are disappointed that it doesn't have a different engine from the rest of the Ranger range. It's still got the same 2-litre bi-turbo engine, but honestly, for day-to-day driving, it's more than enough. You can even, if you really want to, it can spin the rear wheels. I mean, there's plenty of power for your sort of everyday commute, even your freeway driving. It's pretty good. What else do you get? 10-speed auto is the only transmission available with this truck, and it is meant for the freeway. It's smooth, you don't notice any of the gears, there's no kind of clunkiness to it, and it doesn't even use that 10th cog until you get up to about 100 k's an hour. And so the result of that 10-speed auto is really actually surprisingly good fuel economy. It's a bit higher than the stated numbers still, but rolling around over the last week, I've been doing a bit of city driving, a bit of freeway driving, and I've landed on 10.1 litres to 100, which I think is actually really good for something this size. And then you've got the size of this thing. It's massive. You can peer over even big 7-seat SUVs. It offers awesome visibility, but on the downside, it can be really nerve-wracking to drive this thing on a multi-lane freeway, for example. When you're between 2 semis, I mean, that really makes you nervous. And so I don't know if you can hear, but it is surprisingly quiet in here. The engine is kind of a distant gurgle. You can't hear the knobbly tires at all, even though they're these kind of big chunky all-terrains. And generally, it's just a quiet ride. You can't hear imperfections from the road. It doesn't matter what kind of chip you're driving on. It's just a nice, balanced, quiet experience. It would be nice to have active cruise control, but you do get auto emergency braking and lane keep assist. There's no blind spot monitoring either, but the mirrors are really big and offer a really wide angle, so it's quite easy to see around this truck.
So now you're probably wondering, how does it fare in the depths of the city?
You might be surprised where you can get this thing, but it does require a degree of extra caution. The body is really long, and you got to keep in mind those side steps when you're pulling around a corner, and it is kind of difficult to see over the nose with all the extra ride height.
Get stuck, and with an equally gargantuan turning circle, there's a good chance you'll be reversing out. Thankfully, the reversing camera is great, at least during the day, and with those massive mirrors, which are mercifully higher than almost everything else on the road, it's easy not to curb check your pretty tyres.
And sure, it requires that little bit of extra caution, but rolling around town, nothing, not even the most shameful, savage potholes really unsettle this thing. It's like you're floating around in this insulated Fox shock comfort bubble. I mean, seriously, you can scoff at speed bumps, hit them as fast as you like. You can drive over roundabouts, whatever you want. Of course, we at CarsGuide don't condone such irresponsible behavior, but I feel like it's our job to tell you that this is the vehicle to do it in if you really wanted to.
Then there's the small issue of regulation-sized car parks. The Raptor is pretty damn high, disturbingly close to the max height of many of Sydney's car parks, like this one here. While you should technically clear most, you might have to watch your speed and clearance in corners.
The Ranger Raptor isn't quite as good at navigating the urban jungle as it is, well, the real jungle. If you're willing to put up with a few compromises though, it offers a better ride quality than every other dual cab, and it even offers more creature comforts than most SUVs. If you're set on the lifestyle that the Raptor brings with it though, we know nothing we've shown you today is going to change your mind. It's truly the poster car for Generation Ute, which Australia is well and truly in.